You got time. You do. I do. And before you start talking, I'll go and you'll see your face pop up. So I think you'll be fine. Hey everybody, did we get kicked off? Mainly because I don't know how much time Dr. Rob needs to present. So as long as y'all can hear me, everybody good? Okay, cool. I'm already vocally loud. So welcome to our general meeting for ACM San Antonio. I believe this is our fourth one or third one for the year. We do it every other month, except for June because we had a big hackathon. So participated in that. Thanks for participating, but welcome back. We are at Project Cowork, so if you're curious where we're at, it is a co-working space located here in San Antonio off of San Pedro, or close to San Pedro and 281. But what is ACM? I always like to kind of like just touch on it, but we are assisting in cultivating a thriving and professional network here in San Antonio. We're one of many orgs going on related to tech in San Antonio. And if you're looking to get involved, this is definitely a good start, whether or not you're coming from education, whether or not you're coming from your professional network, or you're just here to view the presentation. Thanks for coming. So if you have more questions, totally reach out. But this is our team. It's myself as the chair of ACM San Antonio right now, my co-chair, Gene Tigner, and our treasurer, Dr. Rob. So, hi, hello. Exactly, he touches money. Speaking of money, good segue. We do have memberships. While it's not required to be a paying member of ACM San Antonio to attend the events, it does help us fund the event. The pizza that we have here is funded by the members right now. So thanks for everybody that's a current member. It is a yearly subscription. If you have questions, totally hit me up. I can always add discounts if you're struggling with that stuff. But would like for you to be a member, help support the org. But while I put up associate, you can just come be a part of the event. And eventually we're planning on creating like a way to track membership a lot better, but it's not a priority. Priority is the events and the people. So again, if you have questions, totally available for that. But if you're not following us already, these are some major important links. This is Luma, a pretty popular calendar, our meetup group for ACM San Antonio, and the Discord for DevSA. If you're wanting to get plugged into the San Antonio tech scene, the DevSA Discord is definitely the first place to go. If you just want to attend events, you don't really want to talk to people on Discord, you can just follow the Luma or the meetup events, and you can keep track of all the events there too.
New social addiction.
I don't know, all right? So a new social. But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Dr. Rob. I'm going to get some stuff switched over here on the camera so they can get recorded. So if you miss it now, you can always watch it later. So excited for that to be happening. But yeah, without further ado.
So I'm going to sit because access to this device here. But I'll try to speak loudly. And if you have questions, don't hold your questions until the end. Just raise your hand or holler them out or whatever you want. Okay, so quick little thing about my background. I've got a lot of computer science degrees. Is that big? Yeah, okay, so that looks all right. Been doing software since 1993. So that's a long time. Yeah. Anyways, I've had lots of failed software companies. That's always fun, but I had one that ended up doing okay. I actually taught computer science and web development for 10 years at UTSA and then also Coda. That's where I got to know Justin. And then currently I'm at HEB as a senior engineer. So I was introduced to Datadog. That's an observability platform that I'll be showing you tonight. So HEB has started using Datadog. That was my introduction to it. And it was a piece that's been missing from my brain for a very long time. But I don't know it backwards and forwards. I know enough to really appreciate what it does and want to share with you guys. And it's really a fun tool. And it's very, very complex. Anyways, there's room to learn stuff about it for the next God knows how many years. Okay, so here is the problem part of the problem that we'll be looking at this evening, and that is a full stack architecture these days. And this is a pretty simple one, where we've got part of the project that runs in the browser, run it using JavaScript and so forth. And that can communicate with the Next.js layer or the web server, and the Next.js layer can communicate with an API, like in this case, one written in Python, and that Python API can then talk to a database. So in this one simple little application that I'll be using as the demo tonight, there are 4 layers of code or code-like things. I don't know, database is not really code, but code-like enough. And actually, I'm using a stored procedure in the database, so technically there is code there. So there are 4 distinct pieces to this stupid little full stack application that we'll be looking at tonight, which is a magic 8-ball. So anyways, so a lot of weird pieces and code running in each one of those pieces. So the application, I might as well just get straight to that and show you how it works. And this repo is up on GitHub as well as these slides. So there's a link at the very end. So if you want to download this silly little thing, it's based on the Create Next.js app. So it's very simple. I didn't add a lot of weird stuff to it. I tried to make it as simple an application as possible so that we could focus on this observability thing. Let me see, where am I going? Here. Okay, so this application, guess maybe, yeah, probably need to stretch that out. Oh,
magnify some.
Oh, yep. Is that good enough? Okay, I think I can make that a little larger. Okay, so the secret message up there is essentially the result from the magic 8-ball. And when you press the button, it goes out. So actually, pressing this button is at the button's at the browser level. Press the button, the browser then calls a route in Next.js. Next.js calls Python. Python asks the database, hey, get me a random magic 8-ball message. And then it passes it all the way back up to the browser.
Why is there 2 like API server layers?
Because I wanted to complicate it. I needed a little bit of complexity to it. And also the Next.js web server, not really sure where exactly that would sit. I might not want that actually talking to the database. And with Python, so Python's actually using SQL Alchemy to talk to the database, and that I have a little bit of comfort with. I have no idea what I would use in Next.js to do that. Okay, but so I did add some stuff to this. I don't have to point up there. I can point here. I added some stuff to this for the sake of playing around with observability tonight. And one of those is being able to introduce latency on a couple of different levels. We can tell Next.js to add a delay of up to 5 seconds. And then we could say at the Python layer, add a delay of up to 5 seconds. And at the database, so within the stored procedure, we can have it add a delay for up to 5 seconds. And then we can also have them induce errors at each of their levels. Now, in this particular case where they all generate an error that doesn't make any sense because as soon as an error happens, it kicks it back up to the caller. But we can cause errors at a variety of levels. So this will let us play around with a few different scenarios in Datadog and for this observability stuff to let us see different things happening with our application at these different architectural levels. Because that's the complicated thing. If I open this guy up somewhere. Okay, now I may need to shrink stuff down just a little. And I can go over here. Here's the problem in a nutshell. If I get an error at, say, the Next.js layer, it shows up here in the console. Error aborted, internal server error. Okay, great. If I get an error at the Python level, internal server error 500. If I get an error in the database, same sort of deal.
Yeah.
It's and these errors are very specific. Like in Python, I just did a divide by zero error.
Which part of the kill chain failed?
Exactly. Architecturally, I can't tell anything here. Looking, so if the end user puts in a trouble ticket and I call them on a phone and say, well, open up your JavaScript console, tell me what you see in the JavaScript console there for the errors. What does the error say? The user will not be able to tell me anything useful about which layer in the architecture that error is occurring. And if it's slow, similarly, they're not going to be able to tell me anything, because behind the scenes, the browser over here on the network tab, the browser is just making a Next.js call. So to the user, Next.js is the thing that's the problem, whether it's slow or an error is happening. The user can't see beyond the call to Next.js. The user can't see the call to Python. The user can't see the database call. So the users have limited help, but then again, you don't want your user reporting this crap to you anyways. So that's the other part of observability, is being able to see this stuff as quickly as possible as it's happening, and then also get some assurance when it's working right. Okay, so back to the slides. So that's the toy full stack application. We already talked about all this stuff. Oh, it is logging a little bit. Here, I'll just cat this real quick. Let me cat logs, because I wanted to show you the logs, the logging part of hooking up logs to Datadog so that you can connect your logs with all this other information that you're getting. So behind the scenes, Python is logging to a file. No big deal. It's only logging in a couple areas. I'm getting you a message. Oh crap, I can't get you a message because there's an error. So that's it. All right. So we've already played around with the application and created some problems, created latency at each of the different architectural levels. I don't know. Did we actually do that? I don't think I ever clicked the button. But we can tell Next.js to essentially take an extra second. And then we can tell Python to take 2 seconds. And so the entire round trip will be about 3 seconds. And then we can tell the database to take 4 seconds on top of that. So this application will allow us to control latency, or just induce a latency at each of those architectural levels. That's notwithstanding any type of other network BS that might be happening. Okay. Any questions about the little toy application? All right. That's not where I want it to go. I want to go here. Okay, so as we saw, the problem is if I were the developer of this application and it were deployed out where lots of people were using it and something went wrong, it's really hard for me to figure out where things went wrong. Up until, back when I was doing this stuff by myself as an independent developer with that software company, if something went wrong, I would shell into the server and look at the logs. That's what I did. Thankfully, I only had one server. But if I had multiple servers, that would start to be a problem. It's like a load balancer, like channeling people to one of many servers. I'd have to kind of figure out which server were they on and go look at those logs. What a pain in the neck. Anyways, or even worse than that, you get a bug report from somebody and says, hey, something's not, this thing's not working well, or it's slow. So you want a way to be able to both effectively and efficiently gather that information, be able to know when things are slow, or when there are errors, and then be able to, as quickly as possible, find where that problem is occurring so you can get it turned around and fixed. So server logs are still very critical. but they should not be the source of this kind of information where you really want good, quick runtime information about the state of your system. Okay, so I made a little user story here. As a full stack dev who wants a happy life outside of software development, I want to see an entire user's request from start to finish. When the user clicks that magic message button, I want to be able to see the request going as far as it can until it hits an error if it does, or when the response actually comes back, and how long each of those pieces take, so that I can get a full picture of where latency is a problem, if it is a problem, or where an error occurs in the entire request response cycle. And get that information as quickly and efficiently as possible, and hopefully in a way that scales as if I started having like more of the servers or more Kubernetes pods or whatever these days. All right, so, and that's where observability comes in. Observability is the technological piece that enables that. These days, observability technology will gather all of that runtime information like logs and all kinds of other metrics, including like infrastructure metrics, CPU stuff, and memory usage, and it brings it all together and centralizes it into a single platform where you can see that information, digest it in a bunch of different ways, hopefully even customize it. Datadog definitely allows you to customize it so that you really only have to focus on the things that are important to you, and react as efficiently as possible when there are problems. That's the whole idea behind observability. So hopefully you can kind of see why this is something that is not taught in school, because it's kind of beyond academic textbooks. This is something that you really start to see when you actually get around industry level technology, where you've got
design.
What's that?
Senior design. This would have been
Oh my
something
God.
to introduce there.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly. And then there's also the cost factor.
True.
Datadog is expensive as hell. Okay, and lastly, I put on this because this is part of just my theme tonight. Is I want to be able to do this evening, changing as little code as possible. And we'll see that until we get to logging, there's no code change whatsoever to see a lot of what's going on in this application. All right, okay, good. Maybe we're good, I don't know. So this is also the first time I've done this. This is a brand new presentation, so I have no idea how long this takes. So I may speed up, I may slow down, I may just look at you guys with a blank stare. So we'll be using Datadog tonight. It's one of several observability platforms out there in the world right now. New Relic is another one. Honeycomb.io is one. And then there are probably other free open source alternatives out there. We'll talk a little bit at the very end about open telemetry, which, anyways, we'll mention that. But just realize Datadog is very powerful, has a lot of really good tools and integrations for installing them, and in a variety of languages and operating systems and stuff, but it is also very expensive. I will use a free account tonight, and it's a 14-day trial, and this is actually my third one that I've burned in putting together this demo. But they're very gracious about their trial accounts, but they shut you off at 14 days. And I've only been called by them one time. I didn't take the call. Let's see, and the user interface, as we'll see with Datadog, it's good, and the query language is a little tough at first, but it starts to make sense, and again, I'll show you some of that. Okay, let's get started with out-of-the-box instrumentation. So really just taking this application at this point, not that. So right here, nothing's been instrumented. This thing has not been connected to Datadog at all. So and I have just created this account in Datadog. You'll have to tell me. Can I make that? Yeah, I can make that larger. So I'll try to keep the size of this page readable. But what's important here? So I just created this account with a new Gmail account, and so the first thing that it really wants me to do is. Well, so I just went ahead and I skipped a step here, in that I had to tell it what my first integration host platform is. and I said Mac because I'm going to install the Datadog agent, which is kind of like it's their sort of lowest level piece of software that talks to all of the other integrations they would have on this as a server. Think of it as a server. And it also gathers hardware information. So it's like the first piece that you need to install. And after telling it, I'm installing this on the Mac, they go ahead and give you like all the command line stuff you need, including your account specific API key, which I really like that they masked that out there. That was pretty handy.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. All I have to do is accidentally hover over it and suddenly my secret is out. But anyways, you can just copy that and you can drop that into the command line and install the Datadog agent for you. And it will also configure it with the API key. So the reason I skipped this step is because I went ahead and copied that API key over to the Datadog agent config file and just went ahead and got that saved and set up. Because I've used two other accounts with this single Datadog agent. Okay, so that's already done. And I think at this point we're ready to, I better check my slides. Okay, I think we're ready to run this thing. And we'll just run it.
Never seen a matrix site? You like click a bunch of buttons and it looks like you're in a matrix.
No.
Hackertyper.com.
That's what it is.
Yeah. It's great if you want to fuck with people.
Okay. So if we go back over, and that's another thing about this demo this evening is there's a little bit of like doing stuff and waiting.
What's the footprint like when you install the agent monthly?
I have no idea.
I mean, didn't choke your
No. I mean,
lightweight. I'm assuming
Yeah.
It's not some
It
enterprise
seems-
level. Hey, here's 10
No.
gigabyte installer.
no, I haven't seen any problems with it running on this machine.
When you say expensive, like how expensive?
So it just detected the agent. Okay, Sam. So expensive to me is when I ask HEB to install this on some of our other servers and they say, oh, we don't want you to install that on your development servers or your testing servers. That's only for production. And then I have to say, well, how am I supposed to test it to make sure it's working right and giving us the information we want before it goes to production? And they don't give me a response for that. So so we can, we'll say this to the end, but Datadog has this huge pricing page where they get it down to like cost of logs and the numbers are disturbingly large. And so HEB is very careful with us using Datadog.
But they don't tell you to lessen the amount of stuff you log up.
Oh, they tried that. They tried that, and so we got some type of blanket email where they were talking about how we had to start limiting the amount of stuff that we were logging. The pushback was wonderful, so they eventually took that and threw it right out.
Yeah, those people are known as bean counters.
Yes,
Tell them politely
yes,
but firmly to leave.
Yeah. Every big company has bean counters for sure. HEB luckily knew where to put the bean counters. and who and what to prioritize. Okay, so with the agent up and running, Datadog has finally said, okay, so I'm detecting your agent and now we can kind of go to the Datadog dashboard. Let's see, and right away, let's see, we still don't have anything reporting yet, but so this is the basic Datadog dashboard over here with the sidebar, or I should just say this is the UI because dashboard is actually something different. So this is the UI. The important things here are like the logs section, very important, at least for what we do. APM or application performance monitoring. This is also important. This is like one of the first things we'll get into. So right now I'm just kind of waiting for it to see that my server is reporting.
Can you zoom some?
Let's see, probably. Oh Lord.
Oh wow, I didn't even know it changed context like that.
Yeah.
I've never zoomed in that far. That was interesting.
You get old enough and you will. Still nothing yet. So like I was saying, I'll do something here on the computer and then we'll need to wait just a little bit for it to report it. But I can move on with this. We don't need to sit and wait on this.
You are 1,829 in the queue.
Okay. Yeah, it is a free trial account.
It's amazing.
Okay, next. So it started gathering some information from this computer, things like CPU usage, memory usage, and so forth. Not what I want. I want information about my application. Okay, great. So there's a next level where we can, and the next level of integrations where we can have Datadog essentially kind of like spy on different application platforms or different architectural pieces like Python. The Python piece, we can start Python up and include this DD trace library and have it spy on the Python application as it's running. I think I've read that it inserts some stuff before it actually executes so that it's able to monitor these things. It's magic, and I'm okay treating that as magic, because all I want to see is at the end of this, I want to see the full request as it goes through the different levels of the architecture, and the response that comes back. Now, in Datadog, you would need to go to. So we're interested first in application performance monitoring, a strange term, but this is what lets us spy on the different architectural pieces. And from here, I believe we go to, I think if we just click on this, does it take us to the first one? Yes. So from here, we'll get started, and it has a variety of languages you would imagine. And I want to go host-based because it is just this computer that I'm using, and I'll go with installing Python first. And then down here, it walks through the steps for installing DD trace. And then it also gives you what you need on the command line to launch the thing, and also including this DD trace run package that it's using to monitor the Python side. You can go in here, and so identifying the service, really just the type, what that architectural piece is, that's important, especially if you want to start separating out things like logs and things like traces. So it's a good idea to identify each one of these architectural pieces specifically. Give it its own unique name, and I'll just call this Magic Python. And the environment, I'm going to call dev. And then we can take this. This, however, isn't specific to my application. My application is using UVcorn. So this doesn't exactly work for me because I start my Python stuff up differently. So, but I've got that over here. This is the same thing, but it has the specific way that my Python application loads.
Yeah, UVcorn is what you use to automatically
Hot reload.
Hot reload.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
Okay, so I go back over here and I'll go to Python. We'll stop this guy and we'll restart it with DD trace, which has already been installed on this computer, but it's a really simple little pip install. And there's no API key with that. It talks to the Datadog agent, and the Datadog agent has my API key.
That's good.
Yeah, it makes
minimizes attack surface.
It makes it really convenient too. Okay, so Python is set up. Now I'll go back to Datadog, and I will go to, I want to switch to Node for Next.js. npm install, no big deal. And then it has a similar kind of configuration here, although the service name, it recommends using the service name in package.json, and I think I've already specified it there. And it's just magic-next.js. So a little bit different configuration. And I've got this one saved. I think it's similar to what they've got there. Oh no, I specify it as an environment variable there. So I have found a little bit of conflicting information in what they suggest here versus what really works. Okay, so we'll go over here and relaunch that. So we have DD trace that is specific to Python and DD trace that's specific to Next.js. And both of those pieces will communicate with the Datadog agent that's running on this computer. And then we can go back into the application.
Question.
Yes.
When you talked about them not having the incantation entirely up to date, are you saying that observability stuff is complicated enough that even a vendor like this can't be expected to keep it fully up?
That's what it seems like. And I mean, I haven't run into a lot of situations like that with Datadog itself. Most of it's from AI stuff that's spitting out suggestions on how it should work, or posts from other sources. But every once in a while, maybe just one time in the last month when I was working on this, Datadog suggested one way of launching the thing, and I found that did not work. It's probably me. It's probably me. Okay, so let's do a couple of requests here, and then we can do one that takes a while, a 4-second response. And then let's do an error. Okay, again, this is one of those hurry up and wait things.
I'm familiar with that, being in the military and all.
Yep.
Hurry up and wait.
They made that button really small.
They did. All right. And there are our spans coming in.
Zoom in again. Shit.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, but it's, right off the bat, so I did like 4 requests or 5 requests, but there's a crap ton of stuff here. So why don't I first start with showing you how to get this to where you can focus on only the stuff you want, whatever that is. But in my case, I want to see the top level of the request. Let me just open up one of these guys and show you what I mean by the top level of the request. I don't even know where to start with this. Oh, I'm missing. There we go. So the status code helps. We'll start with this guy. This span right here, a span is a part of the trace, and you can have multiple spans going in parallel. And the spans typically are just, I think of them at the function level. It's like a function's being called in Next.js, and that's however long it takes for the function to start and finish is kind of the span. And then from there, it could call, say, another function or even another part of the architecture like Python. And it start and finish is essentially how long it's executing. But you can see here, the Next.js, this Next.js request here, so there are a couple different Next.js levels here. This is the web request that was originally received from the front end. And this to me is the level that I'm interested in, even though it's very close to this next span. This is also a Next.js span that is, its type is next.request. I don't really, whatever. It's a Next.js thing. And then this is Next.js making the call to Python. So these top 3 spans, it's nice that Datadog did all this stuff for us automatically, but it is a little confusing. Kind of another reason why I want to get the list of traces down to only that top level. But these 3 guys here all executed in the Next.js component. And then here is the backend component, Magic Python. And you can see that the Python span lasted 4 seconds. So in this particular case, that tells us that the bulk of this request happened at the Python level. Let me see if I can zoom that in. Maybe that is waterfall. Flame, is that easier? I think this will let us zoom in or out, but well, in this particular case, it's not terribly helpful because they're all very long as a result of the Python call.
What does spam list look like?
I don't know.
Oh, that's worse. Okay.
No, it's got a percentage there on the far right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
good.
Really fucking useful.
Good call. Maybe that's, yeah, that makes it really easy to see what the hell the problem
So
is.
it looks like from this perspective, it's saying that the Python level took 98%.
98.4% of the time, which was right because that's the. I mean, I said take 4 seconds, and the rest of it was just the overhead of making the call. Interesting.
So for those of you who may mean something, it looks like observability, we can think of as kind of profiling plus plus.
Yeah, right.
Profiling plus.
Some kind of distributed profiling. Yeah, because
Yeah,
you know,
persistence.
profiling lets you look at the runtime state of a program that's executing on a machine, which is cool. But now our program is spread out on different machines and different languages are involved. And that's, you know, in the past, you know, that was totally the realm of like logs. You had to use logs to go and see the runtime state of your program. But this brings back profiling into that, but profiling for a very complicated system. Okay, let me push.
It's profiling at the network level rather than the function level, which is just really useful.
Yeah, but also it's multi-language, multi-platform.
Yeah.
So that was another problem with profiles. Profiles are very specific to a particular language.
And typically you have to wrap them around the function itself in the source code.
Okay, let me real quick show you how we can use the Datadog query language. Of course, it has a query language. Add service. I care about this. So right up here. So up here on this line, this is where you can essentially identify the different clauses and whatever to filter down to just the spans that you want to see. And here I'm saying, I only want to see that top level span, which is of type web request. If I had multiple of those, then I could also put in the service name, magic-next.js. I only have the magic Next.js, but now I'm only looking at these traces. And you can see I've got one error trace, and then this one that took a buttload of time, 4.07 seconds, and then the rest of these guys. All the rest of the information is still in there, so you can still click on the particular trace, and this little tray pops up, and you can still see all the normal stuff in there. But it lets you focus on only the stuff that you want to see for whatever it is that you're looking for. And then lastly, you can save these guys to a view. And I'll call this Next.js spans, sure. So the queries that you use the most often, you can save them as separate views. Okay, let's see where we are. So we got traces, and we've got these traces showing up, and the traces are they describe the flow between the different architectural levels. I didn't even show you Postgres. That's also showing up in there. Let me do one of those real quick. I don't even know what to click on anymore.
I was going to ask, you went through a setup for Next.js and you went through a setup for Python. What's the setup look like for the Postgres stuff?
Well, luckily Postgres is running in Docker, and I've just left it that way. And so I did include the DB SQL. If you want to set this up on your own, there's a really simple SQL for creating the database, the table, and plugging in these magic messages in there. But Postgres, I just created at the very start of this like a month ago and just kept using it. I've never turned it off.
Well, I meant from a Datadog perspective.
Oh, well, so there's no instrumentation for a database that I know of, but instead, if you use something, use an ORM for God's sake, because ORMs like SQL Alchemy, they can be instrumented, and SQL Alchemy does have Datadog instrumentation. If you don't use an ORM, if you were like if you use like ODBC or something else like that directly, you may not be able to have that stuff instrumented and see like the queries that are being executed. But we'll see this here in a second. I should have executed this before I started talking because of the whole waiting thing.
You said a lot. You want to explain just in case those don't know what an ORM is?
The Vietnam of computer science.
Object relational mapping tool, and it's they are useful, but they are not a reason to not learn SQL. You need to learn SQL. So, computer science student, learn SQL. But they're very useful tools, and in this case, they're kind of important for this instrumentation thing, for this observability thing.
They're also much better for security.
I don't know about that. Yeah, you'd have to show me some stuff. Okay, but not now. Don't show me anything now. Okay, so here, in this particular case, you can see that we've got some different times involved. Overall, the entire request from start to finish took 6 seconds. Down here, you can see that Python took 5 seconds, but that also includes the 3 seconds. 3 seconds? 2 seconds? What did I do? 2 seconds for Python, 3 seconds for the database. So Python took 5 seconds for end to end, and the database call here to the stored procedure, that was 3 seconds. And you can see down here somewhere, oh, right there. Anything else associated with that? Oh, SQL queries. That's cute. So it show in this, I'm just calling a stored procedure, so there's really not a whole lot to it. And it's parameterized. So there's a lot of extra stuff in there.
So how can it see the SQL query? I'm assuming that's the SQL query that you queried against the database.
Are you saying the agent's already installed in the image?
Oh, no. So that's not, so this is the call from Python to the database.
Yeah, it sees how long the Python call to
Yes.
the database and back took.
Yeah, so it's,
That layer had its own.
if I bring this up, I swore I wouldn't show code, but I am. Right here. There's the query. I don't know how to make that larger in VS Code. Oh, that's awful. But so there's the query right there in Python. Call the stored procedure. And Datadog sees that as a new span.
And if we instrumented the database, what level of?
I don't know if you can instrument the database itself. You would instrument the thing that calls, that uses the database, and it should show you all of the database stuff that you need to see, like how long this query took, because the query is a call from Python to the database to do something and get a response back.
But if your stored procedure did multiple things.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. You're exactly right. So the stored procedure is SQL is programming for a database. And if it has lots of different statements and those statements take different amounts of time, I don't know if there's instrumentation for that.
But basically what you're saying is you didn't have to set anything up in code for it to be able to see that
No.
call.
Right. I have.
Because the call's coming from Python.
I have not.
Yeah, I understand that. But
Python's sufficiently instrumented that it automatically shows.
That's right. It's able to see this as a call to Postgres.
Does SQL often be supported?
Yeah. So it's important for me to remind you. I have not changed any of this code yet. Okay, but let's get to the next thing. The next interesting thing, which I believe we looked at Datadog queries in order to, right. Okay, let's get to logs, because we're producing logs, and this is a part that was a little difficult to figure out. Is my Python, so the Python component is spitting out these logs. We already looked at those. It would be nice, in fact, it's pretty critical to be able to look at those logs in Datadog. And what would be even better is to be able to associate individual logs with traces, the traces that produce them. Because logs give you really good, detailed runtime information about your system as much as you want to produce. That would be great for that information to also reside within Datadog. And thank goodness they have a way of doing it. There are a few steps involved to this. I'm not going to go through all the steps because some of them are a real pain in the neck. But one of them is you have to set up a configuration file for each. Let me just go ahead and make that larger. for each logging platform that you want Datadog to be aware of. In this case, I've got a configuration file for Python. And part of that configuration file is, this is no surprise, telling it where the logs are. It does mean that you need to log to a file. I think Datadog has a way, or the Datadog agent has a way of like ingesting stuff that's coming from console output, but I didn't even want to mess with that. You can use wildcards here. So in case you produce a bunch of different types of logs for Python or whatever, you could just say, hey, grab all these logs. And then I think you can also use patterns and stuff to restrict like the date or time of the log. So if you say, I only want to see log messages that are this old, it might be a huge log file. Okay, so this guy's already set up and running. What else do I have to do? The platform's DD trace utility needs to start with, needs to have as an environment variable, DD logs injection true. And where's this? Oh, I never finished this slide. That's embarrassing. Okay, this is the thing that Datadog, well, at least the way I've got it set up that did not work is I also had to start the Datadog agent telling it to read the log files. So
Probably the best that
it's-
doesn't read them by default, because then you'll get charged for it.
that's true. DD logs. It wasn't that. What did I? Let me bring up that other one. Right there. So as an environment variable, you have to make this larger and say, hey, enable the logs. And then once you do that, it should start ingesting them. And again, we've been producing logs all the way up to this point. So I didn't say anything different. So Datadog will ingest all of those log messages.
So it'll go back and find anything that, oh,
Yeah.
hell yes. So
Which-
you can just enable this later.
Yeah, which can be good or bad. I mean, if especially, HEB, they say, hey, don't be careful with the logging stuff, and HEB generates a crap ton of logs.
I'm sure.
So we've been kind of struggling with if we enable logging on this application that we're currently working on, do we want hundreds of thousands of logs to just magically appear when we turn it on? I don't know. So
From that point on.
Just
kind of
make the
thing,
bean
right?
counters cry.
no, then they'll make me cry. Okay, let's go back to the tool and let's see if logs are showing up.
Never give up. Never surrender.
You're right. Okay, let's just get started. Every time you create a new account, they make you go through all these little screens where they want to like retrain you or something. I just want to get to the logs.
What do you mean? This is your first time?
Right. Past 15 minutes. I don't know how long it's been, but let's see. Hopefully there are logs here. Let me see. There's a tool called Datadog Status or Datadog.
So you said it can dynamically ingest from standard output, essentially.
That's what I've read.
Okay.
I didn't try that. I didn't try that out.
Yeah.
Okay, it says Python's hooked up. And the Python logs are hooked up. Okay, we may need to wait on this and come back later.
Try the live view.
Okay, well, there's one that showed up in the last 15 minutes. That's the one I just did. But no, really, it's supposed to like absorb everything. Oh. No. Oh, shit. How about I scroll down? This is the insights. And so Watchdog is like their AI thing that tries to figure stuff out. I don't use that. So yeah, there are all the logs.
I mean, we all sat here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are all the logs, and what's one thing that's really nice about this is that oh, I think I forgot something. Yeah, I think I forgot something. I forgot the one line of code I needed to do. Yeah, because
The logger setup.
what's that?
The logger setup.
Yeah, I think there's no connectivity in these log files to traces, so I think I left that out, and that's okay. But let me just check real quick. Just focus on this. Go here. This one guy here. And yes, there are no log files associated with this. Well, actually, no, that didn't. Oh, there's Python. So Python's the only thing logging, and there are no log files with that. Okay, so here's the one line of code that that I discovered I needed to add to this project, and that is within my log files, I need to also include Datadog information that's coming from ddtrace. So I need to supplement my log files. Now, in your applications, make sure that you never use a logger directly. Make sure that you use some type of interface to your logger so that when you have to make changes like this, you only make it in one place. If you had loggers being created in every single source file, you'd have to make this change in a bunch of files. And anyway, so this is the particular change I need to make. It identifies the service that I told ddtrace when it started. So all my log files should be connected to the service magic-python. It'll have the environment. I don't use the version tag. It will have the trace ID. It'll have the span ID. So every single one of the log files that's produced from this point forward should have that information as part of it. And then we'll be able to connect them back to the traces. So let me go and do one of those guys. And then we'll do an error.
So did you just say this is added to every log line?
Yeah.
This output?
Yeah. Every log file that's produced from that point forward, it's using Ubicorn. That should automatically have been reloaded.
Did you save it? Did you save
I
the
always
file?
save, man. We'll find out.
There's the failure.
Yeah. There we go. Log. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Okay. So in addition to the fact that we can see that a 500 occurred here in Python, we can also see that there's a log associated with Python. And then down here, it shows you the log message, which is down at the very bottom of the screen. It says, user told me to make an error. So, and that's just the stuff of the log file. But the reason you can see that is because now when Python's spitting out those log files, it's including Datadog information.
So is it creating a log file for every single message or every single query?
No, I mean, there are I'm using the Python logger in two different spots in the Python. And those messages are messages that I put in there.
Okay, so it's reading a file named python.log line by line and ingesting that constantly into Datadog.
Oh, Datadog?
Yeah.
So Datadog, the Datadog agent monitors that file.
Okay.
And when it at certain points when it grows, it just ingests, it tails it, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. That makes
So
sense.
yeah, it's Datadog agents is this program that's sitting on my machine doing all kinds of weird stuff.
Are you telling me this is how we have it set up at work?
No, no. The way we do it at work is different. You saw that I've had to do very little code here, but the
But
stuff
are we associating the spans with the logs?
I don't believe so.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's like I've been doing this the hard way at work
No,
all
no,
the time.
yeah, it's
like
anyways, that's a
we're on
different
the same
story.
page if anybody wants to know.
Okay. So let's just skip. We're running out of time, which is fine. And I don't have to go home at any point in time because my wife's in California. No, she's even better, Okinawa. So she's 14 hours ahead. She won't know if I don't go home. So I can stay here and talk about this stuff for a long time. Real quick. So monitors, that's another part of Datadog that are their alerts. And that's where you can say, hey, when an error rate gets to a certain point, send me an email or some other kind of notification. They probably have a ton of notifications. They call them monitors, and you can set those up for things like latency, error rates, a ton of stuff, even custom queries. So I'm not going to bother showing you that because it's just sending an email.
So I can set up a monitor that'll listen on my health check endpoint. So the
Yes.
moment my server fails to start because
Any
there's
of
low
those
production,
metrics. Any
I know.
metrics.
That's cool.
And
Can it
even-
fire off like text messages as well?
SMS, yeah, data of the-
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I don't play with any of that
He's not an
stuff.
expert yet.
No, I'm not. I'm a tinkerer.
I have
Okay.
not used it, but the salesman told me.
It's the salesman. Oh, great.
I've pitched Datadog to the past 3 jobs I've had.
Okay.
Never got them to sign off.
Okay.
Where is it supposed?
Let's dashboards. Okay, let's look at dashboard. This is, I mean, to me, this is the happy spot, is being able to build a single page that has only what I want to look at. And the two things that are, I don't know, the first thing that's important to me is give me an error rate. So there are a bunch of different, so they're widget, I don't even know what the widgets, they call them widgets. So there are a bunch of different kinds of widgets over here. Great. One thing I'm interested in is show me what the current error rate is. And this also took a lot of time to figure out. The specific thing I'm interested in are metrics that already come from the data being produced by my application, and that's using APM, application performance monitoring. That's what's the traces. I don't want to have to add any more instrumentation. I want to use the instrumentation as much as possible that's already there. So that APM stuff is already generating metrics. So I can use that as the basis for this, I won't call it a monitor, this widget, whatever. And there are a bunch of like pre-generated widgets. Let me zoom in on that real quick. Bunch of different things that you can ask for that are already determined for you. One of them is error rate. And then they have a bunch of different latencies over here. Fine. We'll just do error rate. And then you select, it's already recognized my 2 services, the Next.js service and the Python service. So it provides those for me to pick from. And web request is the operation that I care about. And you can just say, look at all the different routes, or you can pick specific ones if you want. But in this case, I'll just do all the routes. Okay. Lastly, it gives me a previewer. That's pretty cool. But I care about colors. So I want to come in here and add a few colors and say that if the error rate exceeds 60%, is that right?
I think that's conditional for you.
Oh, shit. Yeah, it does. Thank you. I need some friggin' pizza, man. Hey, Wolfie, you want to feed me pizza while I type?
Yeah, sure.
No, I'm kidding. That's a little much.
He was ready. I was knowing.
I
know. I
You can eat
appreciate
it
it.
yourself. You're a good boy.
Okay.
New way to cook the close.
Hey, my legs work now. I gotta put them to use.
Okay, so according to this, we've had one error in the past hour. Is that right?
Oh, did you mean like feed it to you directly?
Yeah, while I was typing.
Yeah.
We only did 1 hour, or about 4 hours now. Okay, well let's generate another error.
Generate a bunch more errors.
Hurry and wait.
Well, while I'm waiting on that, I can go ahead and make another. A latency one might be interesting, so we can add that widget. Another query value where essentially saying, show me like the P95 value or the P99, which P95, for example, just means that 95% of your requests are at that level or better. Okay. So using APM metrics, I can say P95 for Next.js, that top level. That right there, the preview shows me that 95% of the requests they take 4.1 seconds or longer. That's what that preview is telling me, which is not good, or probably not good. But ultimately, that's up to you. I mean, 60% errors is not good, but for the sake of this. Okay, so this needs to be expressed in seconds, and I think we do. I think I just type a number like.
Can I use this to test for probability of password spraying attacks?
Man, I have no idea, but go
You
nuts.
could probably use it.
Okay, so yellow background, and this one will be, we want it to be green if it's less than or equal to a second.
Honestly, man, if I had a WAF, I would block China, Russia, and North Korea and Iran just outright. No traffic coming into the U.S. should be coming from those IP ranges for any reason.
Now let's give ourselves a few of those. Okay, well that's going, so we're still waiting on those latest numbers to be picked up by Datadog.
Live again, then.
4 hours usually works, but okay, so 100% of my requests. So again, I mean, I'm serious. It takes a while for the data to get from your computer, from a host to Datadog and to be processed and then be visible.
Yeah, this is not sub-millisecond latency.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Is it going through to get here on your screen?
I don't know. But you can, so, and I didn't show this, time window here is a very cool feature for, that exists on all of the screens that I use, APM, logs, and then your dashboard, so that you can say, it lets you adjust the time span for looking at these metrics, these logs and stuff. And they let you narrow it down to a crazy amount. Or as far back as you have logs visible. So
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but Datadog delivers everything in batches, right? It batches out everything.
I don't know. Tinkerer, man. I'm not.
So he won't break it.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, sure. That sounds good, man. Let's go with it. Okay, time series is also pretty cool, because here's where you can get a graph with a few different data sets. Like this could be our latency graph, and we could look at P99 for those Next.js web requests. Oh my God, there's a lot of stuff there. And we can add another on top of it and say, show me the P75 in addition to that. And then maybe average latency is fine. You can, of course, add labels to this, latency. And now we've got that showing up. Oh, so
That's really pretty.
yes, yeah, exactly. So I clicked on something in here and it fed the window that particular point. Okay, great. I don't care about that. But we can go back an hour. Okay, and lastly, so what I've got here so far shows me the percentage of errors in requests for whatever times I select, the amount of time overall that these requests are taking, at least 95% of those requests are taking. And then we can see multiple data sets in a single graph if that's important to us. The last thing that would be important to me is if there's a problem, I don't want to have to click from like APM, go to the Explorer, type in a query, find the span that's responsible. And we can throw that on here as well. So we can show a list of spans. And that's list. This one's a little weird. We have to scroll down all the way to spans. And then you can see it. The preview shows us all the spans there, but it does provide you with one of those query boxes where you can type in your query. Luckily, I've saved my query.
So you can like basically have it tell you a dynamic heat map of your top 5 endpoints getting hit.
Yeah. Gene, is that true?
Dynamic heat map.
I'm
Yes.
sorry, I was not paying attention.
Oh, okay.
The
Fail.
Give you a list of like the top 5
Yeah.
currently heaviest hit endpoints.
Yeah.
Oh shit, yeah.
Okay.
That's dope.
And so, why did I call that a span? Oh, okay. So for whatever reason, it labeled it as a span stream. But now what we've got is we've got a list of the spans that have resulted in errors. And it was just this, so it was this query that I played around with prepared earlier in the APM Explorer. And that just says, hey, in the dev environment for the Next.js service, for those web requests, for the web requests that have a status code of 500. That's just the query. I played around with that and beat on it until it gave me the results that look right. And I used that as the basis for this little widget here in the dashboard. But now I've got a dashboard that gives me a high-level view of errors and latency, a few different data sets there that may or may not be important, and an easy way to dig into a trace that's responsible for something, the trace I want to look at. And in this case, it's an error. You can make any number of the Datadog dashboard that we have for our floor product at HEB is it's
Can you go back to that?
it takes
view you
a
set up?
full minute to scroll through. What?
Can you go back to the view you just had up?
Yeah, you just click one of these guys, it pops up the trace window.
What's that little blip?
Where?
The one on the
short.
the
Oh, this
really
guy?
short one that doesn't span the whole thing. What is that?
There is some stuff in it. So like it looks up, it does DNS stuff.
Okay.
And it also does a TCP connect. So there's a lot of little stuff going on there. And that's all because Datadog's automatic instrumentation stuff. It instrumented God knows how much. And while on one hand, it drives me crazy to let something like violate my code that way, I did almost nothing for this. It was very easy.
On this endpoint, can you see the request body and the
Hmm.
response body?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Okay, that would be, I think that would be at the top level.
Datadog would also know the message the user gets, presumably.
Which means just doing it this way seems like it would make it extremely ezy to accidentally ingest usernames and passwords.
Oh yeah. I mean, you got to be careful with that. And in fact, we've got an issue where we've accidentally leaked some sites. Yeah, as a matter of fact.
No.
Gene,
Put that on. Put that voodoo on it.
hate to give you the bad news, but anyways, yeah. So we've had some stuff leak into the logs that should not be leaking into the logs.
Yeah.
I don't know if Datadog has anything that'll sniff that stuff out. We've got that kind of stuff in our pipeline to sniff out secrets that might be pushed to GitLab, but I don't know about Datadog being able to sniff that stuff out.
Okay, so just the top level by default, it doesn't record requests and response bodies.
Well, I saw the store proc name.
Yeah, it does. It has the request in there. The request header, and then there should be a body.
It's a GET request, so there's no body to it.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
But if it was a post request, you would see the body.
Yeah, I guess.
Probably.
I guess I don't have a post request example to show you.
Okay.
What do you mean? We see it all the time.
No, I don't remember things.
When you had the Python there up,
Mhm.
it did show the store proc name though. So
Oh yeah,
this one has no arguments because it's just kicking off a random return message. But I would presume that if you were to parameterize your call to store proc, you would see those values too.
I don't know. So the stored procedure is parameterized,
Okay.
and it just showed us a question mark. Because I pass it. Let's see. I pass it like the delay. If you say, "Hey, database, delay 5 seconds," I pass that to the stored procedure, so it can delay that amount of time. So the stored procedure should have a single. Actually, it has two. So yeah, I end up giving it two values.
First the delay, second.
Second is just garbage to throw. Still don't know why I needed to do that. I don't use Postgres
So your
much.
next demo is going to include a post endpoint to see if you can,
Yeah.
if it'll
Save a password.
automatically.
See if I can leak stuff. Yeah, try to leak stuff. Security. I hate security. So no.
That sounds like
One more question: Does the span allow you to see production session variables or any attributes about the user? Their IP, their
Only if it's included. So that's a good question, and we do have. So at work, our Python, at the Python layer, the traces have a lot of information in them, like the logged in user's HEB ID. But I think that we've had to manually instrument that.
So the reason I asked the question is so in environments I've been in, the companies involved in nationwide, the organizations have been in all time zones. So the cloud specific, our eastern coast region, you've seen that big outages of Amazon East. You've seen that in the news. Netflix goes down for everyone on the East Coast. Right. So you want to track things like that, and that's just.
So what we've seen, so kind of bringing it all. Oh shit, there's even more. Okay, yeah, forget it. So there's more. There's more automatic graph stuff that Datadog has for you if you just click on your services. Like, show me the Next.js stuff. It automatically has graphs of all kinds of weird stuff. Great. So there's a ton of stuff in there. But what I've shown you tonight is the automatic instrumentation side. what can you do with this Datadog stuff without with changing as little code as possible. If you want to get a lot more contextual information in there that's important to you and your company, you probably may not be able to use this automatic instrumentation the way it is. You may have to go in and add some stuff to a logger, or even have, I think that we've got an actual Python class called a tracer. That's where it supplements that information that comes back to Datadog that gives, as well as some other stuff. So if you want a lot of information that's important to you and or your company, you'll probably have to add some customized stuff, but just keep it in one file, and then include that file in as many, share that file with everybody who needs it. The similar way I use the logger. So just scratching the surface with this, but this was the hard part was figuring it all out from a variety of information sources. But I've now done this like 4 times from 0 to what we've seen, and it works every time. So with the tools that Datadog provides, you can get a lot of meaningful information without having to add a lot of code, if you're willing to pay the big old invoice they give you.
Cool.
Any more questions? Because you guys have been great about asking questions. Anything else? We went over. Sorry. Yes.
So what are the downsides of OpenTelemetry, for example, compared to data?
Okay, yeah, so the downside that I found is their integration tools are not as slick as Datadog's.
Right.
Datadog.
It's expensive to maintain.
Yeah, and so the Python OpenTelemetry library was easy. It was easy to use, and it worked like I thought it should. The JavaScript library was a freaking mess.
That's because it's JavaScript.
I was okay. But the logging, I for some reason, I could just never get the JavaScript logs to flow through OpenTelemetry to Datadog. Yeah, I like it, and we use it at HEB for some of our stuff. The great thing about it is it's a lot more portable because it's this layer between you and Datadog. You could switch from Datadog to any of these other platforms, observability platforms. And if your stuff's going to OpenTelemetry, it's just a config file for OpenTelemetry saying, now send my stuff to this guy.
So I can use it to reduce my Datadog bills by entering.
Yes, by only sending, yeah, exactly, by pre-processing only the stuff you want to go to Datadog. You betcha.
But it depends if they're charged per line or per log.
They charge, Datadog charges by everything. Really, go look at their pricing screen. It will offend you.
Has anyone in the room ever used Splunk?
We use Splunk for vulnerability stuff.
We use Splunk too. It's okay.
Does it do the same kind of stuff?
Nowhere near.
Oh, okay.
Similar vein, and the salesman was trying to compete with Datadog. Those freestyle code machines.
Mark, it's a
The ones that have
security
the screen.
system.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought.
Use Splunk.
That's what we use
More
it
of
for.
an alerting thing.
Yeah, I forgot. There's a lot more in Datadog. Real user monitoring. If you're interested in like UI UX metrics, Datadog RUM will just overload you with automatic stuff.
And charge you for all
I'm sure. One thing that's very cool though is from the information it collects, it allows you to replay a user session, so you can see what they're doing.
Do a session replay
Yes.
attack.
Oh, I don't know about that. You use the word attack. I don't do that. But when a user says, "Hey, this shit doesn't work," then I can go see what they're doing to try to figure out why they're saying that. So it is pretty cool. It is pretty cool.
Say replay. Are you talking like watch where
GUI replay.
Okay,
You
so
see
it's
what they're
not
doing in the
actively
browser.
Doing the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It's
So
replaying in a
like a
browser
snapshot.
simulation.
Okay,
It's not the attack version.
It's. I mean, I think it's linear. I don't think it's snapshots. I think it's recording where the user's going.
Yeah, I've seen stuff like that before.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
What it takes,
Yeah,
it
right.
tracks,
Right.
yeah, user interaction, and then uses that to simulate what the
page looks
Yeah.
like.
So real user
Yeah.
monitoring is interesting, and it's all
Okay.
front end stuff. So if we wanted to track stuff in the browser side, you would use Rum for that. From what I've read and what I tried, you don't generate traces starting in the browser. I'm not sure why. That seems kind of, I hate that. But instead, you would use Rum to generate the information to see, hey, this JavaScript is taking too long in the browser. You would use Rum to figure that out. It still integrates into the Datadog stuff, the Datadog platform, but it's a different type of metric and a different tool that produces it. Cool. Yeah. So I did not want to get into that. Rum is weird and complicated. Okay, any other questions? Please feel free to hang. I'm here until you guys all leave, so I don't mind hanging out.
Well, that being said, we can go ahead and close it out real quick.
Oh,
and
sure.
Then, you could totally stay around and keep asking questions.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you, Dr. Rob. Quick round of applause for that. So I always like to do a little shout out here at the end. There's a lot of events upcoming. I'll make this bigger. I apologize. There's .NET at noon tomorrow. There's a Data Nuts. There's DCG SATX meeting up tomorrow. That's all tomorrow. Just so you know. And then we have a couple of events happening on the weekend. And then there's also something new that popped up that I just saw posted on LinkedIn. TechPort is doing a building with the future of AI in San Antonio. I don't know how tech focused that is, but it's definitely for the city. If you're interested in going to that, that is available. And I do want to give a big shout out to San Antonio Startup Week happening pretty soon here. I put October. So happening in October. So if you're looking to get involved downtown or check out some cool stuff that's going on, there's a bunch of things going on that week. I don't have time to explain them all, but definitely check out SASW and you can find more information on that. Yeah, big thing, spaces across San Antonio, big partnership with DevSA and Jesse here. So thanks for being here from the community, sir. And then so big thanks to Project Cowork. I hope you like the conference room. I liked it, a little bit more intimate, but I also like the training room. So you might see us mixing in between both. So thanks for playing along with this one. Thankfully, it cooled off. And then I always value feedback. So if you have any questions or want to have a way to improve or have tell me how to fix what I'm doing. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. You can totally submit there. Totally DM me on LinkedIn or Instagram too if you have questions or Discord. So definitely up for y'all. That's recorded, so if you want to go back to that. But that's pretty much it. So I talk really fast and try to get to the boring stuff. But yeah, San Antonio. What's upcoming in our lives? Definitely hit us up. So thank you all for coming.
Yeah, thank you.